Program today. We are coming to you live from Commbank Stadium in Parramatta, the venue for tomorrow's Pacific Championships finals. We've got the Men's Cup final, the Women's Cup final, a World Cup qualifier as well. The atmosphere here will be electric tomorrow in front of a sellout crowd. There'll be 30,000 in the house for proceedings tomorrow, and it is our absolute pleasure to be joining you this morning. Thanks to our sponsor for this tour, Solo. If you're looking for something to quench your thirst on this warm day, make sure you check out Solo. They are absolutely fantastic, a very well-known brand here in Australia, but also up in Papua New Guinea. I've got alongside me this morning two absolute legends who I get the chance to speak to every Saturday, but this week I have the pleasure of being in their presence. I speak of the irresistible Peter Pusal and the one and the only Nigel, Mado. Gentlemen, good morning. Let me start with you, Peter. Wonderful to have you back in Sydney. Welcome to the Harbour City once again.
Thanks, Spiro, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be back in Sydney. We did this last year; it was awesome, and we're at Commbank, so that's even better. They're going to sprinkle us out. They're getting ready for tomorrow's match. Matches. There's also going to be that World Cup qualifier. Yeah. I'm not forgetting that one. Cook Islands in South Africa. That's going to be amazing. I want to see what the South Africans are like. But it's excellent, nice sunny day in Sydney, and the weather is mild. I love it. It's a real welcome change from the hot, humid Port Moresby. It's really been shocking weather in Port Moresby. I say that because I live there and it's really tough, but I'm really enjoying the weather here.
Well, this is the thing, Peter. Today it's a top of 33 here in Sydney, probably the warmest it's been all week. So for us, today is all about wearing shorts and t-shirts. But when I rocked up this morning, the man that I'm about to welcome in was wearing a jacket. And I said, are you cold or something? Because 33 is pretty warm conditions for us here in Sydney. I speak, of course, of Nigel, Mado. Nigel, welcome for the very first time here to Sydney and to Australia. Wonderful to have you with us on this tour.
Thank you very much, Spiro. It's such a pleasure and a privilege to come down here to Sydney and to be here at the Commbank Stadium just a day before the matches kick off tomorrow. It's pretty awesome, and like Peter said, we're just psyched up and we're getting ready for the game tomorrow. I also am looking forward to that World Cup qualifier match between the Rhinos and the Cook Islands I2. Quietly backing the I2 to win. Yeah, looking forward to that match.
Huge day of rugby league. It was declared a sellout on Wednesday, a couple of days out from this match. I actually jumped on the website to try and look if there were any tickets available on Wednesday, and there weren't any. And then the NRL just an hour later came out and said, well, it is a sellout. So there'll be plenty of people here tomorrow. You mentioned the 3 games. We'll preview all of those matches. We do have another international fixture happening in the early hours of tomorrow morning. Of course, this tour in the UK with England taking on Australia in the 3rd and final test match of this series. This match taking place in Leeds, Rugby League Heartland. It's a sellout crowd at AMT Headingley Stadium. We'll get into that match as well. Speaking of the venue, it is fantastic to be here the day before. We're the only broadcasters in the venue at the moment. There are a few cameramen setting up their facilities on the camera deck at the moment, but we did see the Gillaroos, the Australian national women's team, out on the field probably an hour ago, going through their paces in their captain's run. I did point out to you both, they were barefoot, which we like to call here earthing. They want to connect to the surface, connect to the ground, get a feel for the venue. They were going through some very light drills. They spent probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes in a circle, sitting down, talking, and I guess manifesting what will be tomorrow when they take on the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns in the Women's Cup final. But the sprinklers are on. The surface looks fantastic. And Peter, before we get into previewing these games and chatting about a number of other issues in rugby league at the moment, as soon as we walked in here, I made the point. I said to you, this is what Port Moresby needs. This is what Santos National Football Stadium needs to be. A 30,000 seat venue which has that undercover capacity, because every seat in this venue is undercover, believe it or not. But more than anything, the viewing experience for fans, you feel like you're on top of the action, you're closer to the action, and it's quite incredible. But this is what they need up in PNG.
Absolutely. If you live in Port Moresby and you go to the Santos National Football Stadium on a regular basis, watch Hunters matches and NWA internationals, you will know that sun is unforgiving in Port Moresby. We need some cover. Not only that, we need a venue that can house more people. So the Commbank Stadium here in Parramatta, Sydney, has 30,000 plus. I think it's 33,000, and it's an arena-style venue, so you're really right on top of the action. And this is exactly what we need. And as you said, Spiro, they've got enough coverage that every seat is actually, you'll get some coverage throughout the course of a day, and that's always a good thing. Not just in Sydney, because this is Commbank, but in Moresby, we need the coverage.
And one thing also, like you mentioned, I mean, even if you sit at the corners of the stadium, you can still be able to get in on the action and have, clear view of what's happening on the field. It's something that we need. Well, back in Port Moresby, the Santos National Football Stadium, yeah, it's pretty good. Just need some, like Peter said, some cover, some extra seats.
About double the capacity at the moment. 15,000, we need about 30,000, and that needs to be done quick time because we've got the NRL team coming in 2020, and so that's 3 years to get something happening, and that would be a really welcome change.
Exactly right, Peter. Not too far away. As I mentioned, we will preview the 3 matches tomorrow and the match taking place overnight between Australia and England. Some of the other things we're going to discuss this morning, I thought I'd just give our listeners a little bit of a preview and a taste of what's to come. The first one has to do with Payne Haas and a bit of breaking news around him and the Pacific Championships Men's Cup Final tomorrow. So we'll get to some breaking news on Payne Haas that I've just received. The other one is the Golden Boot nominations. A couple of Papua New Guineans in the mix. We'll dive into that. The draw for round 1. We know that the NRL draw for round 1 of the competition in 2026 will be announced later next week. I'd probably say Thursday next week. So once you guys get back up to Moresby, once the wash-up of the Pacific Championships final dies down, the focus will turn to the draw. And we do have a few early leaks, so we'll discuss that. And Daly Cherry Evans, officially a Sydney Rooster. He has been unveiled by the club in the last 24 hours. They have confirmed his signature for season 2026. The big question is, where does that leave young Hugo Savala, the big superstar for the Roosters in 2025? But on to the matches, guys. Let's kick off with the first one that's going to be happening at 1:30 tomorrow morning, Sydney time, 12:30 tomorrow morning, Papua New Guinean time. The third and final test of this series between England and Australia. The Kangaroos, they've secured series victory. They are up 2-0. This is a dead rubber. There's still a lot on the line. England probably need the win more than the Aussies to put some pride back in the jersey, to give their fans something to cheer about. A couple of changes to the team lineups. The one change for the Aussies will be that Isaiah Yeo returns from concussion protocols. He had to sit out of last week's game because of that. So he comes into the side at lock, replacing Lindsay Smith. And that's really the only change for the Aussies. For England, Dominic Young, he's out due to injury. He's broken his foot. There are some fears that might impact things for him next year in terms of the Newcastle Knights and season 2026. So Joe Burgess comes onto the wing for England. Jake Wardle also out with Darryl Clark and Harry Newman coming into the side. So a few changes there. Where do I see this game going? I think the Aussies will be too good. Last week we saw it was a much closer game, 14 points to 4 the scoreline. I think it'll be closer as well, but I think that the Aussies will probably be too good for England.
Yeah, I think you're right, Spiro, and they've shown it in the first 2 games. I think the English have found out just the difference between the NRL and the Super League. And it's pretty stark. The Super League guys just cannot maintain the intensity required to trouble this Australian team, and hence you've seen some of these selections by Kevin Walters and the selectors going into the series. I mean, you'd think, well, that team might struggle a little bit, but that hasn't been the case in England. And they're playing in England, so you'd think the English would have something in England. They don't. Maybe they'll have something here when they tour the next time round, just like the cricket team going to come and start the Ashes, I think later this month. But yeah, I don't see anything different. The difference in the class is pretty stark. And, last week they tried some aggression. They tried a lot of aggression, actually. The English, they really got in their faces. And it kind of worked in sports, but class always wins. Skill always wins over that. And this is rugby league. It's not a combat sport. It's a footy match. So they're really struggling. I don't think they can do it. And Kevin Walters he's stuck through the team that's got the job done. Some people are saying, hey, what about the other guys who are not going to get a game? Hey, this is professional footy, guys.
Absolutely.
The coach has the right of call, and they've won so far, so that's really all that counts.
You make a good point, Peter. It's not under 10s. We don't have to give everyone a go. Being on the tour is a great experience, but not everyone's going to get a run, Nigel.
Yeah, true. Yes, Martin.
If I can just jump in, if the English men have struggled, that's good for us next year as well. So, I think a lot of listeners will be wondering why the Comets are not down there. Last year they were. So if you can just explain that to listeners that may be wondering.